You're listening to the Ace Broadcasting Network.
Hello, my little sticky buns. It's me, Alison Rosen. Before the show officially starts, I just wanted to say a few words. 1, don't forget, you can see us live in the flesh August 9th at Nerd Melt. We are doing a live Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. The guest will be the very funny Pete Holmes, and musical guest will be Michael Rosas, which is very exciting because I love him and I think that you guys do too. So you can get more information on that at AlisonRosen.com. Another thing that I should tell you is this is a very special episode because it is part 1 of 2. There was so much Bobcat Goldthwait goodness that we had to break it into 2 episodes. So a lot of you have been saying you wish that you could hear this, at least twice a week. This is your week, people. Download this one, love it, and then on Thursday you can hear part 2. So mark it in your calendar, write it on your hand, stay up until Thursday, whatever you have to do. Gary, I believe we have an iTunes comment of the week.
Alison wants your iTunes comments. Alison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
This week's iTunes comment of the week comes from Robert M. Day, and it is titled Get Into It with Jim Norton. Great choice of guest and way to roll with him. Jim is hilarious and you played off him exceptionally well. Your interview style is supportive yet probing. You never back away and or recoil, and with Jim that could be super easy. Another superb podcast. I am now just excited to hear yours as Adams. Well produced, Gary. Thank you.
That's very nice, although, as Gary and I have discussed, I think that I did actually recoil at least once. And definitely when Jim said that he often smells the toilet paper after wiping his ass. Gary, did you recoil?
I did recoil. That one was jarring. And I think that your recoiling and my recoiling was the normal reaction.
Right. And I haven't even started sniffing the toilet paper that I used to wipe my ass since. Have you?
No. That just doesn't seem productive.
I mean, I guess you could get some information from it, but
I know what I ate.
I mean, I don't think that's why he's doing it. I don't think it's to check up on his diet.
What other information are you gathering?
He said that he does it to see if he's healthy or not, which I feel like that's a justification for wanting to sniff your ass. Dogs do it. There must be something great about it.
The more you know.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so please, if you enjoy this episode and this show, leave an iTunes comment and click 5 stars. And the question this week to answer is, if you feel like it, you don't have to, obviously. You can just talk about how wonderful the show is. What is your middle name? I would like to know, because I've been I have a very normal middle name. Mine is just Michelle. But I've been noticing more and more that people I talk to have middle names that are very unconventional. Either if they're female, they have a boy's middle name, or they have a last name as middle name. So I'm wondering, what's up with all of that? And here's the episode. Enjoy.
Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it's me, Alison Rosen, and welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. My guest today is none other than Bobcat Goldthwait. Hello.
Oh, hi.
And I need to tell you guys a couple things about shirts before we start.
All right.
One, I'm wearing a bright yellow shirt because normally I only ever wear black. Like the lightest I go is just a lighter shade of black. That's the brightest I go.
That should be the name of your album.
A brighter shade of black?
A lighter shade of black.
Yeah.
So why are you all, what is it? Spring?
I just got tired of my whole ensembles, of all of them. I just got tired of the whole thing, and I think I wanted to change. So I bought some shirts, but some like in varying degrees of not black. But I went way too far today,
Yeah,
and
that's
now I'm
about
wearing
as far as against black you could go.
Yeah, it's like highlighter yellow. I want to take it off and throw it out and put on something black. It feels weird.
But it looks like you're something that I should remember.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. It's as if under my shirt I've written a bunch of notes.
Super important stuff. That's really the gist of what you are about.
Have you ever experimented with pink or blue highlighters?
It throws me off my game.
Because I have shirts in those colors. I don't.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. The problem with those is that they're too much. You can't really see through them.
Yeah, it doesn't say ta-da like yellow does.
Right. But this yellow is even, and this is great for people who are just listening, this yellow is even brighter than I realized it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was just yellow. This is like, fuck, I'm yellow.
Yeah, it's also got a hint, dare I say, or it could be the neon lights in here, a hint of green. It's a little greeny.
I'm hoping it brings out the green in my skin. And then you gave me a shirt from your most recent movie,
Yes.
God Bless America,
But-
a dark satire. And take it away.
No, but I own a lot of cats. And
How many is a lot?
I 4. That's
Okay.
that's a lot,
a lot,
right?
yeah.
They're all rescues, and 3 of them were like within a less than a year rescue. My wife calls me the Schindler of cats. More cats would have lived if I had. No, so
Right.
So Squeaky Fromm. There's the news cat is Detective Carla Whiskerson. She plays by her own rules. And then the widow Madeline Perman, and then Peeps LaRue. She's French Canadian. The widow Madeline Perman, her husband Admiral Perman. Don't bring it up, but he died in the war. So there's a needlepoint of a cat dressed as an admiral, 1.5 feet off the ground on the floor next to Madeline Perman's bed. But unfortunately,
Will she ever love again?
she doesn't want to. She thinks nobody could fill. First,
Right.
you know
His
what?
paws, big paws.
Big paws
big
to-
boots.
Big boots to fill. Also, the Admiral's first love was the sea, so she should have saw it coming.
Yeah.
But so
Right. She should have seen that watery grave in her future.
the watery grave. But the Detective Carla Whiskerson, she thinks out of the box. That's the thing. She plays on her own rules.
Right. Do you feel like she's keeping tabs on you?
No, she's the detective because she's always walking around the perimeter of the house.
Okay.
She's always looking for clues. And I say stuff like, Whiskerson, someone's responsible for that sparrow's head on the back porch, and I want answers. I'm tired of your lip. This is what I do when my wife's at work. So unfortunately, I thought it'd be a nice gesture to bring you this shirt it was the crew shirt from God Bless America.
I love it.
And then it lists all the people who get shot and killed in the movie. But everything in our house has got cat hair, and you're allergic to cats.
No.
So,
Well, yeah, I am. But allow me to. It's true.
So if your throat closes up in the middle of this podcast.
But that's what I was saying before when I was trying to backpedal.
It feels really bad, actually. It shouldn't have cat hair on it. How skanky are we? I'm pretty,
I love it. Because it's got a little more of your household. I feel acquainted with it. Here's the thing. I'm allergic to cats, but I'm not violently allergic. Like because my best friend, when I was 6 through older, my best friend had 1 million cats, many more than you.
Really?
Yes, not to make you feel bad about your cat quantity.
No, I feel good. I feel responsible.
Yeah, no, they had like 1 zillion cats, and I would just set foot in that, like the kind of house where you walk in and the lights are out and you hear hissing and fighting and stuff. It was like a cat house, but not in the brothel way.
Not in the sexy way?
And I would walk in and, I would feel that scratchy throat, eyes watering kind of situation. And it's not like that anymore because your allergies can change as you get older. So now I'm just, a little sniffly and not around all cats. And I have a feeling that, now I'm and this is a real conundrum because I'm hating the bright shirt. Here's a black shirt, but it's got cats on it.
Yeah. No, don't put it on.
I won't.
Also, there's a lot of pressure when I was picking because there was more than one of those. And I'm thinking, oh no, there's no smalls. I don't want to give you a medium thinking that I think you're portly, which by no stretch of the imagination do I think you are.
Is that what medium represents now?
No, but it's just that I don't know you well enough to be
highlighter.
You are not, but also, different women go different sizes on T-shirts. Like, I
like them oversized normally, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So like sleeping apparel.
Yes.
There
Yes.
we knew a woman that we used to work with who would say, "If I can fit into it, it's my size."
She sounds sassy.
She was very sassy. I was trying not to. I think the sass came through. She was a black lady. I was trying not to.
I was
be,
just gonna say,
Yeah.
skinny Jewish chick.
Yeah, if I can fit in, it's my size. She was Gaelic, actually. She was a little Irish hen.
I didn't expect that at all.
No.
So I'm looking at the list of people that have been killed in this movie, which brings me to a question. You were Homecoming King?
Yes, I was the Homecoming King. You've done research.
I did a little research
You
this
did do
morning.
a little research,
Yeah.
yes. I know people, most comics are always like, someday I'll get famous and you'll all pay, but...
It's what motivates almost everyone I know.
Yeah, but I was really popular in high school. That though, did not fill the hole. So,
Clearly, yeah.
No, but then I went out and I was performing in high school. My friend Tom Kenny and myself, when we were
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't want to name drop. I'm trying to, I decided today I was going to try, because I've done a lot of podcasts lately to promote this movie. I wanted to try to not repeat myself.
Oh, good.
So let's see. What could I tell you that I haven't told other
Right.
people about?
Have other people been unearthing this Homecoming King thing?
No, I haven't talked too much about that. I was trying to think of good stories about Tom Kenny and I when we were growing up, but I realized they're just horribly embarrassing for him, so I'm not going to tell that one.
Do you have any that are embarrassing for you?
Well, but the first time we met, we were 6 years old, and I went to Catholic school, and this nun was crying, and she dragged me into his classroom in first grade, and I was crying too. I was just fat kid, I was really Bobby Hill, is what I was. So she dragged me in, and she just said, "I can't take him anymore," and left me in Tom Kenny's class. And so
What were you supposed to do?
I was upset. I thought I was never going to see my friends again.
She couldn't take you anymore.
Yeah, she kicked me out of her class and gave me to the other class, the other nun. And Tom thought it was really cool that I could make a grown nun cry. So he introduced himself at lunch, and then we became good buddies all the way. I'll tell a story that I haven't told about
Okay.
Tommy and I. There was a girl, and well, it's good that I don't remember her name, but she had two hooks for hands. She was missing her hands. And when they were picking sides in second grade for dodgeball, the three last people were Tom Kenny, me, and her to get picked. And so I was talking to Tom Kenny about this, and I said, hey, Tommy goes, "That was the day I knew I'd never be good at sports." and my ego's so big, I thought, well, they know that Tommy and I can handle it. So that's why they're picking, because they picked her in front of us, by the way. She's definitely a detriment to the dodgeball game,
I would think, yeah.
right?
Yes.
I mean, whatever. But so, yeah, so.
I mean, she could stab the ball, I
Or
guess.
yeah, I'd be like, "Psh, oh,
Right.
Karen." so
Waving around a deflated ball.
there is a Tom Kenny and I story, but I'll try to think of. I just don't want to have, when I ego surf, I don't want to read people saying, Blob Scratch Goldfarb told the same stories again.
No, I don't want that either.
I know, I gotta keep it fresh.
Whose podcasts have you done recently?
Wait, hold on a second. We'll get back to whose podcast have you done recently, but this goes to something that's a frequent theme on this show. You said the term ego surf. Is that what you call searching comment boards?
Yeah, ego surfing.
Okay,
when
we
you
can talk about that.
No, we don't need to talk about it any more than that, but I thought that was unique that you have your own term for it. I've never heard that.
Don't you think that would be a good show for like a sketch thing or a UCB thing where you get a bunch of people together and they ego surf
Yeah.
and then they discuss what
would
they
actually
read
be
about
really
themselves.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a segment on this show, which we'll do later, called Hey, Go Fuck Yourself, which is where I address some of the comments. But wait, do
they hurt you, those comments?
They do.
They do. Well, but there's two different kinds. There's some that actually hurt me. There's some that hurt me. And then there's some that are just so crazy that I don't even bother reading them. Do you know what I mean? Like the ones that attack me or the movie for the politics behind it. I don't read that because it's just like sports, It's just, do you know what I mean? It's just name calling
Yeah.
and just kind of, it's really boring,
Those frustrate me sometimes because I feel like the person writing it didn't even understand at all what I was saying.
Right.
But that is much less painful. But it does get to be frustrating and if this is something that if you're in the public eye, obviously you have to get past caring about whether other people really get you. But I do in general feel frustrated when I feel like people do not understand at all what I'm saying. That like I'm someone who wants to be understood
Yeah.
to my detriment, probably.
Yeah, that always to me that's really key. Like more important than if someone said that I was funny or whatever. But being heard is way more important. How many kids in your family?
I have 2 older brothers who are 11 years older than I am, and then I have a younger sister.
Yeah, that's weird then. I mean, there was 7 people at our house. I was the last one to get
Wow.
crapped out. So, I mean, you can understand maybe why I was like, it's important. But it is very important that people hear what I'm saying more than if they like what I'm saying.
Do you generally feel like they do hear what you're saying? Because your stuff is so, I would say so dark.
Well, the movies I make are dark, but I guess that's probably why the persona I had, all those. It's kind of funny. It was important that people understood me, and then I decided to have a character that you couldn't understand what I was saying. Yeah.
Ironic.
Why don't they understand me?
Right.
Because you sound like Grover and Donald Duck. I had an experience when I was directing the Kimmel show when Grover was on. Mm-hmm. And again, name dropping, but Grover was on the show, and he was not, like, when do you think he'd have a certain case they would carry him in, like the Holy Grail or something,
right.
you know, so the Ark of the Covenant, but the Ark of the...
Kind of blue light coming out of it.
It should have been like in Kiss Me Deadly or Pulp Fiction, like glowing suitcase.
Right.
But so Grover's just laying on the floor, and his legs were all akimbo, and he looked like a suicide. He all flat and stuff. And I said to the puppeteer, I'm like, yo, that's really fucking me up. Can you please put the puppet on? So he puts Grover on, and he goes, hi, Bobcat. And I really did this. I go, hi, Grover. And then at that same moment, I was like, oh, this is clearly where I got my act. Like, clearly as a kid, I was like, that guy's got good chops. I like his acting style. I like that, Grover. That, and I thought, wow, I think I owe the Henson Company a lot of money. No.
Well, so where did the character and the voice come from?
Well, the idea of just going out on stage and being myself seemed terrifying. So it was much easier just to just be as nervous as I was feeling. And also, I had no interest in doing observational comedy and all that kind of comedy. And so I was just trying to make fun of it. So, and I also just, when I first started, I didn't do traditional stand-up. It was reading Dear John letters and crying, and that would be it. And, you know, thank you, good night, you know. How fat is your wife? I said I didn't have a wife, you know, in tears. And
How did that go over?
sometimes it go very well. Here's a story I haven't told. I remember years ago, speaking of Grover, I think I'm the same age as Jim Carrey, so he would come down from Toronto to audition for TV shows in New York, and then I would come in from Boston, and he would get a standing O. He was like, his act was like super mom and pop at the time. Like, he'd go on stage and do Katharine Hepburn and I mean, he would just on Golden Pond, he'd recreate that, and then he would end singing The Rainbow Connection as Kermit, and the crowd would go insane, you know. And there wasn't a curse word in his whole act, and he would just, and then I would come on stage, I'd be in a leisure suit and mascara, crying and gutting fish on stage, and I would clean the room like a bad fart, man. It'd be like people just running out of the door, you know. But again, you know, it was kind of more important that people heard me or remembered me or I made an impact than winning them over, which was kind of it's a strange field to get into. It's, you know, I often, you know, Robin Williams is my friend, and I often discuss that with him. You know, his neuroses is that he wants everybody to like him, give him the thumbs up, and say, you're really funny. You know, my neuroses is just, you know, it's different. You know, it was just like I wanted people to go, because like he would go on to a set, Robin, and then I'd go on after, and it'd be like, hey, we saw Robin Williams last night. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, and then Bobcat Goldthwait came out, and you know what he did? You know, I mean, for some reason.
And you liked that?
Well, that's just how I'm wired, you know. Unfortunately, mine's not, my mental illnesses aren't lucrative.
What are they?
I think that, you know, I don't think I have that much. I think when people see the movies that I make, I think they do think I sit down and go, this will really freak people out if I make a movie about that. But that's not really, even though I say that's what interested me as a performer. At this point, the scripts I write are just the things that come out of me. I don't sit there and go, oh, how is this going to go over, or is this going to get me a job, or is this going to make money, or is this going to appeal to X, Y, and Z? I really just sit down and write them, and I don't expect them to even get made. And then the ones we make, it's always a surprise when I make them.
Do you remember what the first thing you ever thought was funny was?
You mean the first person or thing?
Yeah, well, I remember mine. This is leading to what made you want to get into comedy. But my first thing that I remember really laughing at was I was out with my family, and I was somewhere between 2 and 4. I don't know. I think I was in a high chair though. Or my sister was in a high chair, but a poached egg slipped. By the way, this is going to be refined, high concept comedy. A poached egg slipped off of a plate and fell onto the floor and kind of wobbled. And then my mom looked at it. My mom, who's kind of wound tight, she looked at it and she said, "Bye-bye, egg." And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I think it kind of...
It still holds up.
Yeah, no, it's good. Right. I think she stole it, honestly, but yeah. Or she had someone write it for her.
Really? You think she stole it, though?
No.
Bye-bye, egg?
No, I think that was
That was hers?
Shelley
I met
Rosen
your mother.
original. Oh, that's right, yeah.
That's a News Mom original.
That's my mom original.
Yeah, don't get your mother... don't have other mothers saying she's a hack and a thief.
No.
Bye-bye, Mom.
Yeah, no, that was her. But I think...
Bye-bye, egg, and it slayed you? It must have. You still remembered it.
Oh, my God. I laughed. And that's like something that my family remembers. And not that every year we talk about it. Not really. But it was just that I could not stop laughing for the longest time. And I think it kind of gets to the heart of comedy a bit, which is that it was this release of tension. Because like I said, my mom's kind of high strung, and I imagine, as a little kid, I probably was expecting her to freak out or something. I was expecting there to this is a situation that's where people are going to be on edge, and instead she just laughed it off. And I thought it was so funny.
But has that shaped your comedy?
Well, I laugh when I see eggs.
Humpty Dumpty? Okay, it's hysterical.
Yeah. No, it hasn't. It's just the first thing I remember thinking was hilarious.
But I remember, I would say the things that I always found super funny is that always the times where you weren't supposed to laugh. That's so, I think, isn't that the best comedy?
Oh yeah, inappropriate comedy.
But humor, I mean, not inappropriate, like oh, you shouldn't laugh at that because it's shocking or tasteless. But just those times where you really shouldn't laugh. That is, to me, the funniest kind of stuff. I know the first time I had that experience, and that was there was a kid who was. He was what is it? He was a savant, I guess. I don't know what you would say. I won't say his name, but I remember it. And he just one day went away and never came back. But he was in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade with us. In second grade, I guess his sister fell in the diaper pail, and he would just go, "Sissy fell in the diaper pail, Sissy fell in the diaper pail," and then put a eraser in his mouth and run around the room barking. And we weren't supposed to laugh, but it would slay me,
That's early cringe comedy.
Yeah, it totally was. So
wait, was he autistic? Because savant to me is someone who's super intelligent.
Yeah,
was he that as well?
Yeah,
was he
because
a tiny rain boy.
He was, because in kindergarten he could spell all of our first and last names and do math. But he also thought he was a dog and liked to talk about his sister falling in a diaper pail a lot.
It does make me laugh, even though I feel uncomfortable laughing at that.
Well, of course, it was horrible.
I feel uncomfortable. I mean,
Sissy fell in the diaper pail. I bet you if I ran into him now and said that, he would die.
I bet you anyone who was there then, if you said that to them now, would die.
Yeah, Sissy fell in the diaper. Yeah, I know. It would have some sort of Pavlovian thing. But those kind of laughs are always, At my oldest brother's funeral, a little person was his pallbearer, and no one gave us the heads up. And my daughter and I looked down the church, and I go, "It looks like Ricky's riding a subway," because he's hanging on so. And my daughter goes, Dad, he just got air. So my daughter and I are now like convulsing with laughter, but we're not, so and our shoulders are jerking up and down, and people just keep coming up and rubbing me on the back going, it's okay, man, it's okay.
I feel like that's the best laughter is.
But isn't that that's the healing
when
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the healing stuff. And, and there's people who really don't see that, which is kind of funny. Back to the comment people, this new movie, and I'm not trying to be a plug guy. I mean, the movie's, whatever, it's available for people.
I would ask you to plug it.
Okay,
so how about if you tell us where we can get it and what the deal is?
It's a movie about a guy who's suicidal, but instead of committing suicide, he's about to commit suicide, and he sees a girl on My Super Sweet 16. So he drives 400 miles and he shoots her in the face. So that's it's called God Bless America, and so there's a lot of killing. But
and he teams up with a teenager, right?
Teenage kid, yeah. But the movie is, I like to say, it's a very violent movie about kindness. That's how I like to frame it.
Because he's angry because he feels like in our culture we've lost kindness, right?
Yeah, his whole thing is he just wants people to act nice and be right. The girl who he teams up with, she's just a teenage girl who's homicidal, who hates everything and everybody, which is the way it goes. I mean. The movie that I kind of was really influenced when I made this one was Badlands, but when I started looking at spree killers, there's a lot of often when there's a young girl involved, she's often the engine, and she doesn't get blamed.
Tiny Lady Macbeth.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's why I wrote the way I did the movie.
And how much does he mirror your feelings?
People confuse Frank, the character, for me a lot. I agree with about 90% of the things he says, but I don't actually feel like him because I'm happy. I don't sit around. I think sometimes people confuse the rants for the way I talk all day or what I do in my act, and it's just it was just an idea I was exploring. I'm not trying to distance myself. Like there's a thing. There's like Diablo Cody was upset because the girl in the movie says we should kill Diablo Cody, and
she took offense.
Well, but
thin-skinned.
But I'm not saying that we should kill Diablo Cody. I don't think we should kill any of the people they kill in the movie or suggest they should kill. But why would you? How thin-skinned? How dare she? Pshaw!
Right.
Where does she get
Why
balls
would she take that
big?
personally?
Why would she take that personally? But that's in there because my daughter's really funny, and whenever she says anything funny, people will go, "You're like Juno," and she goes, "Dad, I want to stab him right in the throat when they call me Juno."
Yeah.
So that's why the kid in the movie says it. But then so Diablo Cody said that she was upset, but she hadn't seen the movie. And honestly, if I was watching Young Adult or something about her, and they said we should kill Bobcat Goldthwait, that guy's really pretentious now. He's trying to make movies. He's the dude from Police Academy, that washed up has-been or something. I don't think I would get upset, honestly, because that character would not like Juno, and I stand by that.
So what is the...
I mean, why? I mean, people are shocked more by that than when we shoot a baby in the movie.
Well, I actually was just on a podcast recently, and someone else's podcast, and we were talking about how much violence in movies can you take. And she said that now that she has a kid, she can't handle the baby killing scene of your movie. So I know someone who can't handle it.
How dare she? No. But it's...
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you make of that?
Well, you know what's funny?
baby's
The
not
only
famous.
time I ever killed anything was once my daughter was born. It was when my daughter was born, there was a mouse got in the house. And in my head, it was just this giant rat, like a gorilla-sized rat. And it was the only time I ever killed anything, was I killed that mouse.
How?
With a broom. I mean, it got caught in a trap, and then I smashed it. But, like, in my head, it was going to kill my baby. And I became super protective.
Yeah. Was it hard? Was that whole thing upsetting?
No, I was just like, it was that dirty rat.
Yeah.
No, suddenly I'm James Cagney. That dirty rat or my daughter, and I killed it.
Or you're hiring scab workers?
Scab workers. Yeah,
like
that
they
was
inflate the big rat.
It was the rat was actually writing. It was in the kitchen making
Okay.
noise.
That makes sense. Interesting. So having a daughter brought out this protective
Yeah, man. It
or
was-
violent,
not
instinct in
violent,
you.
protective thing that I kind of understood why people are violent, but I'm very nonviolent. I mean, to me, it's
You seem like a very sweet, nice guy.
oh, pshaw again.
I'm sure that's not who you are.
No,
but,
thank
no,
you.
but I mean, but it makes sense that in your art, that's where this other stuff would come out. Do you look at it that way?
I think it all comes out. Yeah, I mean, like all the stuff that you're not supposed to talk about, all that stuff is I put it out there and deal with it, And I think most people in show business suppress who they really are all the time, and then later on you find out they beat their wife or they're a pillhead or they're you find out all these things about them. But I take
Or even something as simple as their sexuality. They were not comfortable saying what they really
But I
were.
never blame anybody in show business for keeping their sexuality themselves because it does affect their employment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're a guy who's trying to get a leading man, you won't get that's who we are. Maybe we haven't. So I have a big problem when Perez Hilton would out actors and things. It's not like they're like political people who are making oppressive, policies. They're just people who are trying to work. I mean, like if for him to be a guy who's in the gossip business and to be straight, that would probably be something he would keep away from people.
Right.
I can't let that out. I'll be washed up,
Yeah.
So I thought about killing him in God Bless America, but then I just thought he wasn't even that interesting to kill.
Yeah, who didn't make the cut?
He
besides
didn't
him?
make it. I just thought he's just so silly. But there was, there was about an extra 80 pages that all hit the floor, and there was people who were, just kind of stuff that was. I felt it had just been repetitive. Maybe a certain beach house got blown up in Jersey. I mean, it's that all the writing's on the wall.
Do you think those kind of shows are destructive?
No, I think this whole movie was pointing out what is it about us that is so interested in these distractions. I don't really care about these shows. Like sometimes people go, well, why doesn't Frank turn the TV off? It's like because I don't follow the Kardashians at all. I've never seen the show, but I know when one gets married and gets divorced. I know all this stuff just by
Do you
proxy.
know that Courtney just had a baby?
Yeah, I do know that she just crapped out a baby.
Do you know what the baby's name is?
Hitler? No, I don't know.
Okay.
What is the baby's name?
Penelope.
Penelope.
I know that.
But
Proving your point.
But it's just through osmosis and through the world we live in. So I really wanted to make a movie that blames us. Like, why are we so caught up in being distracted all the time? And including myself. I'm blaming myself too. I'm not above this stuff. I mean, I slip occasionally. I just think in the digital age we are becoming really, really isolated, and I don't think all conversations should be heavy and social political, but we don't ever expose ourselves to each other anymore because we're too busy talking about things that really don't.
We're too busy being connected. That's the irony.
Connected to shit, to nothing, to tweet wars and stuff that really has nothing to do with reality.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I was my boyfriend and I just went to a wedding, and then we were talking about, if who we would be choosing in our wedding party, and we both had these realizations of, well, who are our close friends right now? And then I was thinking that I wonder how much I'm able to, I don't have a whole big group of tight-knit close friends anymore, and some of that's my age, because I definitely did when I was younger. But I definitely feel like there's all these people that I deal with all the time, and I wonder how much is that because of Facebook and because of Twitter and because of these digital ways of staying connected that aren't at all the same as actually hanging out. Because it's very rare that I actually hang out with my friends.
So, would you have an online wedding?
Yes, exactly. And you know how I'm going to do that? With GoToMeeting. So you guys,
Nicely played.
Thank you. You guys are probably familiar with GoToMeeting, and if you aren't, you should be. Gary and I used this today, and it is effing amazing. It is a way. Okay, I am not someone who relishes the idea of having to have an in-person meeting with a bunch of people, and here's why. It always takes forever to set the damn thing up. You spend like a week trying to find a time that everyone is available, and then right before you're supposed to have the meeting, someone can't show up, and especially in the summer it's hard because people are out of town or they're working different hours. I remember when I worked at a magazine, it was a magazine that was on 2 floors, and the whole upstairs would leave early in the summer. And the whole downstairs, which is where the editorial was, had to work the whole day. And that made me angry. But that doesn't really have to do with anything except that it's so much easier if you can just meet and have a meeting on your computer, and that's what you can do with GoToMeeting. And Gary and I use this today, and it is awesome. You can see each other because there's GoToMeeting with HD faces, so everyone can see each other, and you can pull up documents on the screen so everyone can see what you're talking about. And this is, I think, the coolest thing. You can actually different people can type on the same document, so you truly can collaborate.
Absolutely. It was really cool. It's not only just just video conferencing, but it's HD, so it's really clear. You can have up to 6 people like that you can see, but you can have like up to 25 listening. And then when, let's say Allison and I are doing it to work on the Just Me or Everyone's for the next episode, I can click and give her control of my mouse and keyboard so that she can move things around to show me exactly how she wants it, as opposed to spending 5 minutes trying to verbally explain it to me. So it's really, really cool, and it's super intuitive to use. Like, you just click one button and it starts the meeting all up for you. It's super intuitive.
Right. Because I'm always dubious of things like this. I'm worried that at a certain step I will get confused or it'll crash or something won't work. But GoToMeeting, the reason it's so popular is that it actually works super well and it's very easy to use. And they have online support 24/7, but I don't even think you'll need it. So GoToMeeting by Citrix, all you need is your computer, and you can use your built-in webcam, or you can use a video camera, and you can use your built-in mic, and you can join meetings from your iPad or your iPhone, and they have a 30-day free trial. So for 30 days, you can have unlimited meetings. So sign up and try it, because I think you'll realize that you love it. Start hosting your own face-to-face online meetings today with GoToMeeting. My listeners can try it free for 30 days. Don't wait for this special offer. Visit gotomeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and use the promo code Allison. I'm Allison. That's why the promo code is Allison. Just for people who are like, what? Why that name? Be sure to use the promo code Allison.
But now, what's a good, when you're doing a conference call, you don't know who's talking.
You don't.
And people don't wait, and they all talk all over each other. It's terrible. I hate conference calls.
That's
Exactly.
why.
This would solve my problem.
Yes, you can see everyone. And I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, although I tweeted it right after. So there was 4 of us on the meeting, on the
Right.
GoToMeeting. 4 of us went to this GoToMeeting. And afterwards, I had to write an email, Gary, and I felt a little bit lonely. I was like, oh, my friends in my computer are gone.
They're gone. Well,
I truly did.
It really was kind of a letdown going back to just normal.
Normal. Well, I used to direct the Kimmel show, like I mentioned, and sometimes I get stuck on these conference calls where everybody would be in a meeting room and the conference call thing was in the middle. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
it looked
like weird Death Star.
And so, yeah, exactly. It was this pod
or
thing.
Roach Motel.
And and it would always be like the advertisers. So I'm stuck in a call with the advertiser. So I'd be miming, or even worse, I would get on top of the table and I'd take my pants down and mime that I'm crapping on the actual.
That would you could be in a tiny box on the computer doing that.
Oh yeah, people could see it now. Yeah, that would probably stop.
That's right.
I'd probably pay a little bit more attention. So that was a really weird plug I just gave to these good folks at GoToMeeting.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, how did you start directing?
I did a talking horse movie that was really put me in comedy jail, and was such a horrible experience after I made it.
What was that called?
It was called I like to call it that fucking talking horse movie at our house. It was always called H to T. I would never even say it as my kid grew up.
Oh, Hot to Trot.
Yeah, it could be. So after that, I was like, wow, I realized, like, if you're in front of the camera and you're not like someone who throws tantrums and all that kind of stuff, you really have no say in the outcome of how the movie's made. So that made me go out and make my first short after that. It was called The Making of Bikini School 3. And it was it was the behind the scenes of the third installment of the Bikini School franchise. So I made that, and I used a lot of the people that still end up in the movies I make now. But I think it's the first thing Kathy Griffin did. That's kind of weird. But so and then I went and made Shakes the Clown, and then I didn't work for a long time as a director, although I really wanted to. And then Kimmel asked me to come on the Man Show and direct like segments. I didn't direct the live studio stuff, but I directed a lot of the segments. And for a while there were sometimes where I was directing all the segments. It was really crazy, but it was like comedy ER. It really is where I learned so much because one day it'd be a hidden camera, one day we'd shoot on film, and it'd be a commercial parody or a film parody. So I got to try all different things there.
And when you're directing those segments, are you telling them how to, giving them notes on their performances, or is it more directing the technical stuff, or is it all of it?
Well, yeah. When I would direct Adam, you really don't tell him much anything. So I would try to have all the questions answered in advance for Adam. And one thing I learned when I was directing Adam was that Adam's super technical about what we're shooting, how we're shooting, and what we're doing. So fully let him know what it was. And Kimmel was the direct opposite. He was always on a need-to-know basis. Like, where do I stand? What do I say? And then we would do it until it was funny or he was happy, and then move on. But Adam would be weird. He's like, "Why are we doing this again?" And it'd be like, "Well, it has nothing to do with you. The stripper that you're acting the scene with. I would pretend that I wasn't filming them and put a light over the tally, the red light, and so I'd be filming other people because I had yet to get an actual good performance out of them.
Oh, that's so interesting. Well, that makes sense.
A lot of little tricks like that.
I was it's interesting about Adam though that he needs to have the big picture.
Yeah, he needs the whole picture.
It makes sense that he's doing his own, his entirely own venture now.
Yeah, and that's you had to explain everything to him, and then he would do it. So
what a pain in the ass.
No, it was just when I was there, I knew I was facilitating him. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like I did a commercial with him, and it was funny. Like the people in the commercial, they all thought they were going to tell him what to do, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute, that's really sweet, And then we get there, and he's like, So I know, that's Adam. So and. But you work with different people different ways, and when I'm working for a comedian, I really just try to take their ideas and maybe add stuff to it, but I'm really trying to make it what they had in mind and try to protect them from powers that be or just deliver what they want. Now, if it's my own thing, it's different, but I mean, I still like to collaborate with everyone I work with.
Now, you said that you realize that if you're not someone who throws fits or tantrums, you're not going to be able, if you're the person who's in front of the camera, you're not going to be able to make it the way you want it. Did you lament that you weren't able to throw fits and things like that?
No, that's just not my personality. I mean, I wouldn't be happy. I think like making a movie should actually be a lot of fun. Even, Bob Fosse is probably my favorite director, and he would be filming like the rape, the necrophiliac rape scene in Star 80, and then after they would go cut and everybody like, woohoo, they're just having a party, and I kind of feel that way. I mean, I respect an actor and what they take to get into a certain place, but at the same time, I don't think making movies where you're trying to parody hypocrisy should be a horrible time. Mm-hmm. It would bother me more to wrap a movie and then have someone say that was the worst time I've ever had. That was the other problem with me. Like I would always take really bad jobs and be more concerned that the person at craft service thought I was a good guy than the person who run the networks. I always had it backwards. I don't know what that was about. I mean, but it's definitely
Is it that those
true.
are the people you come in contact more, or do you think of them more as salt of the earth? Or
I don't know. I mean, like if a guy who ran a
condescending what I just said.
No, but if a guy who ran a network said I was an asshole, that wouldn't bother me. If a guy who put out the Red Vines every morning and coffee said I was an asshole, that would bother me. I don't know why I'm wired that way.
Well, here's where I propose different theories about that. is it maybe that you don't want to be the person who's an asshole to the crew?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really important. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really care what my perception is, how people perceive me, but it is important to me, the people that actually brush against me, what they think of me.
Right.
Which, again, that's, whatever. I'm sure there's some grip going, really? I thought you were an asshole. But, for the most part, that is how I view the world. That's why I'm off making my tiny movies, I mean, I don't do well in a pitch meeting. I don't do well, I just don't do well in that world because I get exhausted. It's not that important to me to be in front, have a series or have a big movie,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really sound like I'm full of shit, don't I?
No. Well, I'm trying to think.
If you're listening to this, would you call bullshit? Well, but you have a soft spot for me.
This is something we should talk about as well.
Well established. But no, I believe you. I've heard you on some other podcasts recently. This sounds very sincere.
Well, until
I can understand.
until I have success, until my zombie fetus movie does well, then I'll be throwing chairs across the room and stuff like that.
So here, oh wait, no, I'm changing direction. I've got two things I want to say. I was in the articles that I was reading. You were talking about when you were doing a bunch of talk shows, and it was this whole let's have Bobcat come on and he'll do something crazy, and you began to feel like you were Richard Simmons.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it was just for folks that aren't aware of my body of work. But yeah, so I'd set the Tonight Show on fire. Actually, just set a chair that I'd been sitting on fire, and smashed the Arsenio Hall, and shot a fire extinguisher up Kathy Lee Gifford's skirt, and just all this kind of. It was kind of funny.
How did she react?
She was actually a good sport, much to my surprise. She was like, "Ooh, I think she's a freak." It was really funny because I was kind of just over it, just fuck it, I'm tired of this wheel. And then the more destructive I was, the more people wanted me on their shows. But I got tired before that because I would just come on the show and I would run around, I'd say outrageous things, and it'd make for interesting TV. But I wasn't making anything, and I wasn't. It just felt really empty. Just to be famous doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me now even.
Yeah, that actually resonated with me a lot, or made me think a lot about the fact that you were talking about how I think, tell me if this is what you're talking about. You're saying that as a culture, we aren't rewarding people who make something or who comment on the world we live in. The whole thing is just chasing fame, and there's this pressure to, as a comedian, to have a Facebook page and to Twitter. And then that got me thinking about the fact that, yeah, I don't feel like I'm really taking time to step away from, I mean, I don't even know what, 'cause it's not like I'm in the spotlight, but to step away from constantly commenting and farting out tweets and all that stuff, to actually make something artistic that I'm proud of, which I know is in me, and I want to do that, and that's something I used to be more involved in. Now I'm just kind of doing this thing where I'm out there and I'm tweeting and I'm very active in social media, but with the idea that I'm, amassing this platform in order to, I don't know what. But I mean, for me, there's something.
But you have to make something to feel good. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you really do. I mean, it doesn't have to be, something that
opus.
It doesn't have to be something that other people are even exposed to. But that's what I have to do. I should say that. So it's as simple as that. Were you happier when you were in a band?
No, because I've always been. A writer more than a musician, and the band was fun, but I think in terms of that specific creative outlet, writing is always what makes me feel like I'm creating, I suppose. So I can feel pent up, and if I sit down and just write a blog post, actually, I will feel better. Yeah, because right now most of the stuff I'm doing is podcasts and on-air stuff, which I enjoy. And I am happy that this is what I'm pursuing, and it's, ultimately what I want to do, but I have to make myself continue to write, because that, I think, is, I don't know, I feel like, I don't want to say more of my heart is in that, but I feel like...
Well, because this stuff is almost instantaneous. It goes away.
Yeah.
And it's also... Yeah, I mean, so when you write something, it exists, and that to me is almost the whole deal. The whole deal
Sassy.
is because I the movies that I make, after World's Greatest Dad, I actually wrote 5 screenplays. So I by the way, I don't enjoy the process of writing at all. I enjoy having them done and out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just started something recently, and I'm just in a bad mood until it gets finished. I just feel grumpy when it's like, I mean, it's
Yes.
just like, and everything is an interruption. So do you ever go away to write?
No. When I was writing the most, so I come from journalism and working for magazines and things like that, where everything, you have a deadline and then you just turn it in. And so anytime I've tried to write longer, I give myself over to it for a little while, and then I kind of pull myself out of it. Like I have a million first pages of pilots. Like and I feel like when I can't go forward with it. I just go sideways. Like I'll write the same beginning scene repeatedly, and then I don't keep going. Like I start editing myself, or I've written, I have book type stuff and various amounts of progress on that. I don't know. I'm very good at working. I hate saying this because I don't enjoy the experience of having a deadline, but in terms of writing, I'm good at short form with deadlines as opposed to like writing a movie or something.
You should do what I do. I go to a chain quality hotel, and I book myself in, and that's when I write stuff. And
How long do you stay?
Sometimes 3 days, sometimes 7 days, but sometimes I finish the script the whole week,
Mm-hmm.
or not. But I get a really good start because I'm sitting there going, I can't believe I'm paying for this. I'm away from all distractions. Detective Carolla Whiskerson is not bringing me her banana.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and my friends can't call me up and say, hey, at the Cine family, there's So I am forced to write, and that's all I do, and you get stuff done that way.
If you don't do that, can you get stuff done?
I do, but it's not as, it takes longer, and it's more labored, and I totally identify with. Before I started down this road of doing this, the beautifully written first scene. There'd be so many scripts that scene was really well written, but there was nothing else,
Yeah.
So I kind of just go really fast now, like, do an outline, figure out what world they live in. And I always, the first thing I'm writing is what is it at the end of the movie I'm trying to say. And once I know that, then all the other scenes kind of fall into place because you go, is this really helping? Or is this something I think would be cool to see in a movie? You know what I mean? So I kind of throw those away and just say if it's helping me get to the end.
So what is the thing you're working on now?
The thing I'm working on now is too goofy. I will say this. One of the movies I wrote was a musical based on an album from the Kinks from the 70s called Schoolboys in Disgrace. And I just came from London, and I had a lot of really good meetings about it. So knock on wood, maybe my musical will get going next year.
So for each thing you've done, do you have in a couple sentences what it is you were trying to say? Like, do you always have that?
Yeah. I mean, especially in the last 3, to the point where they're always like, I don't consider the movies that I've made so far, they don't exist in any real world. They're very fable-like. The Sleeping Dogs Lie, at the end, the woman says, I used to think that she says that it's the living up to the lies that we tell about ourselves that makes us better people. So I thought, okay, now I'll go backwards from there. And then the end of World's Greatest Dad, he says, I used to think the worst thing in life is ending up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is ending up with people that make you feel all alone. So I went backwards from that. And, so everything had to go into that sentence. And this movie was, I didn't really have the one line or something, but I wanted to write a movie that said, where are we going as people, and am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? So that was what I was thinking the whole time of this. So I always get really defensive when someone feels that the end is tacked on, because the end is usually the first thing I come up with.
No, the movie was tacked on.
The movie was tacked on in my end. Yeah,
right.
That's one of the things. That's one of my kryptonites.
So you have said the key to happiness is to get a reprieve from narcissism. That's a quote I read that you said.
Wow.
or it was attributed to you?
I think I would have said that, but yeah, that is a reprieve from narcissism is the key to happiness.
Right.
You know, those fleeting moments when I'm sincerely trying to not think about myself is so hard, but those are that is.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the pursuit of instant gratification.
Yeah,
and how that's all very narcissistic.
Or the pursuit of how people perceive you in the room. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if you could. You know, being comfortable when you're not the focus maybe these are things that happen to you when your testosterone starts fleeing your body. I don't know. It could be just my age. You know, I don't know how profound I am, or if I'm just like, I don't have the energy to be a blowhard today.
Well, what were you like when you were younger?
I was a lot of trouble. You know, but not. You know, it was always the same targets. You know, I always kind of was defending the misfits and the weirdos, and I was always kind of taking on authority and bullies, and never, you know. So when I would go to jail, it was never for like picking on somebody. It was always for something really stupid, like breaking into the county war memorial to make popcorn when I was drunk and hungry.
Did you do it?
Oh, sure.
Was it good? The popcorn?
I never got to the popcorn.
Oh.
But I did spend 3 days in jail because I did it on the Memorial Day weekend. So
How many times have you been to jail?
you know, this is something I find strange. I've only been to jail, I think, twice that I was actually in jail, but I've been arrested 4 times because sometimes you just get arrested and they turn you over. But with that said, I always think everybody's been to jail. And I remember once when I was directing the Kimmel show and somebody said something, I go, you know, it's like when they bring you the food in jail, you just eat it because it's a distraction and it helps kills time. And I thought everyone was going to go, yeah. And everyone just looked at me and go, we haven't been to jail, Bob.
Yeah.
It's not like, I guess it's like, I think we were talking about plain food.
Adam, he and Jimmy went to jail and ate the food for a segment.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll always tell this story and he'll neglect to mention that it was for a segment or for the Man Show.
Mm.
And in fact, it comes off sort of like when you tell the story, and I have to be like, I have to remind him to tell them that. 'Cause
That he hasn't gone to jail?
Well, it just sounds like he's recounting a story about eating the food in jail.
But it's not like I was there long enough to get like a nickname or that I was cooking. I was making alcohol, rubbing alcohol hooch. But
I'm sorry. How is this that you were that guy who defended misfits, but also you were homecoming king? Maybe I come from a very black and white world about what makes someone popular in high school.
Well, I
that
think
seems anomalous to me.
There's 2 theories on why I was homecoming king. Maybe I was popular, or maybe it was a hilarious joke. You know, maybe it was going to be either me or the guy that put erasers in his mouth and ran around and said "sissy fell in the diaper pail."
I feel like you guys would split the votes.
If Billy could have made it all the way. Okay, I gave out his first name, but there's a lot of Williams. A lot of Williams.
Exactly.
But
no, it sounds like you were genuinely popular.
I was popular, I guess, but I didn't. I hung out with everybody. I didn't really. People who say that usually didn't, but I did. You know, I had friends from you know. I didn't really think about that. I didn't think about like, oh, these are the drama nerds, or these, you know.
Were you confident?
Yeah, really confident and really, but so self-loathing, so weird, you know, have so much confidence as a kid, and then also, you know, having all this self-loathing. It was really strange.
Where did the self-loathing come from? Do you think?
I don't know. I don't remember it not being there, you know. So it was it was a really weird combo.
So what was your family like? You were the youngest of 7.
You know, it wasn't nutty to me until I started having my friends over when they were in their early teens, and they were like, "This is madness," you know. My dad in his boxing short underwear. He would never pour himself a drink, so he'd just take yours. And so, like, he would take Tom Kenny's milk and drink it, and Tom Kenny would be like, what? And my dad always was playing Family Feud, but he wasn't watching the TV. He just had it on like a radio. Mm-hmm. So he'd be like going, bicycle chains, tubes, bulbs, you know. and also... a lot of drinking, and I have told stories about my old man, but he was very fascinating with his, you know, he would do things like say, I'm going to jump into a mayonnaise jar, and then he'd open up a mayonnaise jar and then climb on top of the refrigerator with a crash helmet, and he had like maybe a cape and stuff. And when you were a little boy, you just thought he was really going to do it, and it was terrifying. And like all the neighbors would come in and stand around the refrigerator and wait for my dad, and there was always something would
To
stop.
jump into the jar?
Yeah, but then he'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is Hellman's. I can't use Hellman's." You know, there was always something that prevented him from doing his. They were like suburban performance art pieces, all fueled by Budweiser. You know, like he would say he was going to jump the above ground pool on my brother's mini bike, and he'd build a ramp all day, and it'd just be getting hammered, and then he'd take the bike and go up and down, and what he was doing was running it out of gas. So, oh, you know, so
did he ever intend on following through on these things, or
No, but
the
he
whole
never
point was to kind of rope people in?
He'd rope everybody in, and to the point people would be screaming and stuff, you know, because it, you know, you know, up and down the ramp.
What did your mom think of this?
Oh, and she could give a shit. She was like, "Oh, I hope he cracks his head open." You know, she just.
So it was one of those loving relationships.
She was just over it,
right?
You know, so then later on, when he got as an older man, he would just do magic where he was really, really bad. He was great. So he'd go, "I don't like performing for the senior citizens." No, he liked the senior citizens. I'm sorry. He hated performing for kids because they would figure out the tricks. So when people have dementia, they just thought he was a wizard or something, that my dad had powers.
What was his actual job?
He was a sheet metal worker for the longest time. And my older brother was a sheet metal worker also.
And what's the age range of all of you guys?
I'm the youngest. I'm 50, so they really just pounded us out right in a row. There was the 5 kids in like almost like 8 years.
And another thing that I read that you said was that fame was like an eraser, because your parents forget about what you were like as a kid.
Yeah, or all the disappointment or yeah.
But is that your self-loathing, or was there really some expectation
on because
you?
I was a really bad student, and I did get in trouble all the time. So yeah, it wasn't a blast raising me. I mean, I was definitely a dick in my parents' ass. That's a sweet thing. That's actually a card I'm coming out with.
That's nice.
Sorry, I was a dick in your ass, Mom.
What would the image on the front be?
I don't know. Actually, that's not the best Mother's Day card. Dear Dad, sorry, I'm a dick in your ass.
And you have a tattoo of a potato on a fork?
I have a lot of tattoos, actually. I have but that's only for the people in Syracuse. They would know what that is. Salt potato.
This person in Glendale right now doesn't know what that is.
A salt potato is it's just in Syracuse, and it's they take a small potato, you boil it in about a pound of salt. They give you like a bag of salt, a big, like it looks like a kilo of salt, and then you pour it in the pan. You boil the potatoes. The potatoes become crusty with salt. And then you dip them in butter. It's like white trash. It's white trash lobster, but it's salt potatoes. So if you don't have them, if someone just punches you in the heart, that's good enough. So I have a sacred salt potato, and then on the bottom it says 315 Por Vida. That's the area code because I'm a gangster for life. And then over here, this is the scoop because not many people have ever. This is the this is Ed Wood.
Nice.
But my sister goes, "Your uncle's got Ed Hardy tattooed." I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, that could be Ed Hardy." Some people go, "Why do you have Johnny Depp on your arm?" I like that this freckle looks like.
Oh yeah, it
he's
does.
Got a bullet shot in the head. But yeah, so I really I don't consider Ed Wood the worst director. You know, I'm very soft on him because he had to make movies. He didn't, you know, I mean, he wasn't making money. He just made them because and they were always personal and they were always imaginative. So I have a very soft spot for Ed Wood.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the 2-part episode experiment. Remember, on Thursday morning, before you even have coffee, check your iTunes because you'll be able to download part 2 of the Bobcat Goldthwait episode. And in that one, we finally get into the topic of my crush on Bobcat and the awkwardness that surrounds all of that, and also your favorite segments like Just Me or Everyone and Hey, Go Fuck Yourself. I mean, I'm not telling you guys to do that. I'm just saying that's what we talked about. Okay, see you then.
Hey, know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Thank you for choosing the Alison Rosen show. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. That's right, that's right. Those good times don't seem to end. That's right, that's right. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now it's time to go. Hope to see you next time for the Alison Rosen show. Yeah! Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
You're listening to the Ace Broadcasting Network.